Hello and welcome to Hamer Reviews. My name is Christopher Hamer and today we're going to be reviewing the Cambridge Audio Melomania Touch true in-ear wireless headphones. Now, I think these are really interesting. The original Cambridge Audio Melomania ones, I believe was what they were called, were really good headphones. I briefly had a chance to try them, borrowing them off someone else. But then in October 2019, the Apple AirPods Pro came out. And they became the de facto true in-ear wireless headphones. I think it's fair to say that people are more likely to own these if they own an Apple product than any other headphone, simply because they are so good. Of course, they're also not cheap at over £200. So the Melomanias are coming in around half the price, which makes them a very interesting proposition. In terms of design, they actually follow Sony's WF-1000 XM3s, so they have a sort of more of a larger base rather than a longer design, which means that when you put them in your ear, they actually look very inobtrusive. You can get them in white and in black. Personally, I prefer the white, which I think looks quite good. I think when you do actually have them in your ears, you can't really notice them a huge amount at all, which is a good thing. So, what else do you get for your money? You receive this little charging case, which I think is quite nice. It has a nice magnetic feature when you put the earbuds in to charge them up, which is good. It means they stay in place and you know they're charging correctly. The charging case will provide a good amount of battery life as well. Now, battery life is interesting on these. They claim up to 50 hours using both the charging case and the battery built in to the headphones. Now, that is true, but that is in a special low power mode, which is actually lower quality sound. Now, in a product that is hailed as having really, really good sound quality, that's not necessarily a great thing. I would stick to thinking these have around 40 hours of battery life, which is more than enough, and it's quite a lot more than the Apple AirPods Pro. In terms of size of the case, you can probably see where some of that battery life has come from. The Apple AirPods Pro is a much smaller case. This is sort of a large, almost pillbox style. I don't think it's an issue, to be honest. I mean, I guess the AirPods Pro case is more convenient, but it's still a pain, to be honest with you. And I think this is probably about the same. In fact, it does look very similar to the WF-1000 XM3 Sony case in terms of size as well. The quality of the case isn't bad. It does not feel as good as the Apple equivalent. There's quite a lot more play in it. I could imagine that I might damage this in the future, but presumably I'll be able to get a replacement if I need to. The case also uses USB-C to charge. That's one of the most important things in my mind. It's the most ubiquitous cable at the moment. It's much better than micro USB because it's less likely to break. So I think that Cambridge Audio has done well there. You receive 6 sets of silicone ear tips, as well as the ones on the actual headphones, which is good. I think that gives you a good amount of choice. You also receive the little rubber bands that sit around the headphone. I'm just going to take them off so I can show you. They are quite important because they allow you to get the right fit in terms of the actual upper part of your ear, because they sort of sit inside your ear with this extra silicone part sitting at the top of your ear, holding them nicely in place. This means if you go running, cycling, whatever, I don't think you need to worry about these falling out, as long as you've got the right silicone ear tip combination. One thing I did find quite interesting was that straight out of the box, it was the perfect setup for me. I got the greatest fit that I've had on a set of earphones for a while. Usually I find the standard ear tips too small, so bear that in mind. These might have a slightly larger profile, which I don't think is a bad thing. So that takes us on to the most important part: sound quality. And these have one of the best sound profiles of a wireless headphone I've ever tried. The reason for that, I think, is down to the slightly larger drivers that they've managed to fit inside these earphones, which help to provide just magnificent bass. The low end on these headphones is incredible, and it's the first time that I've had to go into an EQ setting and actually tweak it so that the bass is much less heavy than it is out of the box. I did feel like this came at a cost, and that was the mid-range in its standard configuration, so with a flat equalizer, was kind of lost a little bit by that really booming bass, but I just tweaked the EQ settings a little bit and I found a profile that suited me perfectly, and in my opinion, they just sound fantastic. They sound better than the Apple AirPods Pro. Now, I know I'm considering to the almost twice the cost Apple AirPods Pros, but there are some features that these don't have. These do not have active noise cancellation. I'm kind of curious as to why not. They do claim to have sort of noise cancellation when you're making phone calls. So they must have good microphones, because you also have a transparency mode that you can activate from the app or with a shortcut on the earphones. So clearly it's there. It's just that they didn't decide to put noise cancellation in. Maybe that's because they couldn't get the quality to be quite right. It felt like these almost had noise cancellation. That's kind of what it felt like to me. It felt like the app kind of could have had that feature. So that's interesting to me. I doubt they're going to add that in a firmware update. I just think that in the future we might see Cambridge Audio style headphones with noise cancellation, and that will be very interesting. Of course, I've now mentioned the app, so I should probably cover that off. The app looks great. It's one of the nicest user interfaces I've seen. Sony could learn a thing or two from them. It's really easy to use, but the pairing functionality was not. I went through the app, I tried to start pairing them through the app, and it wouldn't happen. Quite honestly, it just didn't seem to accept that what I was doing was pairing them, which was a little bit frustrating, if I'm honest. However, I managed to pair them manually, which was fine and worked without any issues. And that's actually the only real problem I've had with the app. I have read that other people have had major issues with the app and setting up the headphones, but there was a firmware update available once I'd paired them, and maybe that solved some of the problems that the initial reviewers had. I honestly don't know, but I actually haven't run into any connectivity issues. I haven't run into any app crashes. Overall, they seem to be working really well. So your mileage may vary based on what other people have said, but from my experience, I haven't had any issues with the app or indeed Bluetooth connectivity. They use Qualcomm's technology for Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth 5.0. They use some very high quality audio codecs. I think on Apple, you're kind of stuck with AAC, so AAC, but you're going to be able to get more, I'm guessing, on Android. But overall, the sound quality from these is excellent. Let's just briefly cover low power mode. Now, there's some interesting things about that. First off, as I said, it gives you up to 50 hours battery life with the charging case, which is great. But getting into low power mode feels unnecessarily finicky. You actually basically seems to be end up updating the firmware on the headphones to get in that low power mode, because activating it takes the best part of 5 minutes from the time you've touched it to the time it finishes. So Cambridge Audio must be doing some real trickery there to get that battery life that they're claiming. I think that the 40-hour mark is absolutely fine. I wouldn't worry about it, and I'd just stick with that. If you buy these, you should really be listening to them in that beautiful high-quality sound mode, because they sound great, and you're just going to be missing out on the experience if you were to try and use them in low quality mode, in my opinion. I must say though, I did try them in low quality mode. Maybe I could tell the difference, maybe I couldn't. I usually think my ears are quite good at picking up differences in audio, but yeah, there wasn't a huge amount in it, in my opinion. Other thoughts. So yeah, overall, build quality seems good. Battery life is as advertised during my testing. I do think they look good when they're in your ears. I really do. I prefer this white color. So you can get them in black as well. And I just think the white looks better, in my opinion. The black is fine. They sort of have a shiny texture on the outside. So yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, I think they look really unobtrusive. And the one thing I really liked was they're very comfortable. They really do feel nice when they're in your ears. I didn't get a huge amount of fatigue. One thing I did find funny is if I smile, I kind of unseal them, so the seal of the actual earphones inside of my ears goes and sound quality drops as a result, but the second I stop smiling, that goes away. So I guess just look very serious all the time and you're going to enjoy these. And another thing I should probably cover off is sound quality during calls. I still don't have a way of actually recording the Bluetooth sound from these, but it's not bad. So having a phone call with them, was fine. I went for a walk next to a busy road. I was still heard okay. Apparently they're not the be all and end all in terms of voice sound quality, but they're okay. Also went out wearing a mask with them, as the things are at the moment, and people could hear me fine even when I was talking. They do pick up a fair bit of background noise. Do bear that in mind. They're not perfect, but the sound quality is all right. I don't think it's as good as Apple AirPods Pros, but yeah, it's still very, very good. Overall, I think these are some of the best sounding in-ear true wireless headphones that I've tried. As a result, I absolutely recommend them, and I think at their current price point of around £130, they are a very, very good buy. Cambridge Audio sort of has the tagline Great British Sound, and they've really achieved it. I do wish them every success of this. Their hi-fi equipment is spectacular, especially the high-end stuff, but I hadn't really had a huge amount of time with their wireless headphones before, and I'm really glad that I picked these up now, because they are much better than I expected them to be. And as a result, I really do recommend them highly. So if you have any questions, pop them in the comments section below. Equally, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It really does help. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. The other button works absolutely fine too. And I hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.